Good evening, everyone. This is Marna, OT Marna, here in my kitchen. Thanks for joining me in my kitchen again tonight. Tonight I thought we'd do a video about how to make some DIY home hand sanitizer. In addition to toilet paper and Lysol wipes, hand sanitizer seems to be something that's in very, very low supply. And again, when you're home, soap and water is best. Soap and water, 20 to 30 seconds, warm water, dry your hands thoroughly. That really is the best. But say it's your weekly trip to the store and you're out of the good stuff. Again, thank you very much, Jadira. But say you're out of that and you don't have any hand wipes, those disinfecting or hand wipes that are in containers to take with you, and the store has maybe a gel dispenser on the way in but not on the way out, and when you get to the car you just need something to bridge you over till you can get home, not touching your face the whole way home and washing your hands as soon as you get home. This will maybe do in a pinch. Now I'm sure, actually, how did you all do today? I hope you all had a really good day and you all stayed nice and safe and healthy, and I wish that for you continuing. I should have said that at the beginning because I am thinking that for all of you. But you know that the CDC is recommending that any hand sanitizer, in order to be effective at removing the coronavirus, has to be at least 60% alcohol content. Now, I've often thought, geez, that's kind of where'd that number come from? And then today I heard 62 and maybe even 70%, because then some of the alcohol evaporates, and by the time it evaporates, it'll be at that 60% baseline that's required. So there's a few numbers out there flying. So please know that this, what we're going to make tonight, is not going to replace soap and water at all. It is not going to replace standardized hand sanitizing gel that we buy at the stores, because that's been made by weight, that's been made very carefully, those ingredients are measured, it's very standardized, it's going to give you a better result. But this may be what bridges you over from a vehicle ride to your house where you can wash with soap and water. So I'm calling it, in a pinch, hand sanitizer. So there are a couple recipes out there. I'm sure if you've gone online, because you're smart, you're a bunch of smart people, how to make your own hand sanitizer. You've seen a lot of recipes, as have I. Some involve isopropyl alcohol, some involve essential oils, some involve witch hazel. There's all kinds of combinations and all kinds of recipes. I'm going to follow tonight with you because I've already made a batch, and so I'll show you how I made this batch. I made one batch. I'll just show you this. And this is how much it made. These are each 2-ounce bottles. So 2 4+ ounces. That really must be a little bit more than 2 ounces because I used an 8-ounce cup. So it must be a little bit more than that. You guys can do the math for me with one batch, but we're going to make another batch together, and I'm going to show you some of the problems that I ran into and what I did to work around it, and some cautionary tales. So originally I thought I was gonna maybe make a video because my husband could not find any isopropyl alcohol anywhere, but he went to the hardware store and he found some denatured alcohol. That's what that spells backwards, denatured alcohol. And I kept asking him, what's denatured alcohol? And he says, well, it's ethyl alcohol, but it's what's used for like stripping furniture. It's very flammable, and they add an ingredient to it to make it poisonous, so people won't drink it. So if you can't drink it, I highly do not recommend using this in a homemade hand sanitizing recipe of your own. Do not use denatured alcohol, okay? So we're gonna say no to this, because anything they put poison in so you won't drink, it could be absorbed through your skin, and you could have other problems long term. Plus it's flammable. Of course, isopropyl alcohol is too, but that's all kinds of flammable. There's all kinds of warnings around that. then I thought, oh, what about like alcohol? So here's some grain alcohol, 95% alcohol per volume, 190 proof. But when I was reading up, doing a little research on using this kind of alcohol, it was more like you would have to weigh it out compared to the gel. It depends on what ingredients the gel has. It seemed a lot more confusing, and I just don't think it's as safe, because it's not what this was made to do. This was made for a different reason. Isopropyl alcohol, which we've all have heard about our whole lives, or rubbing alcohol. Some of the recipes say it has to be 99% based on that, but most of the rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol that you're going to find at the grocery store or pharmacy is 91% alcohol. When you add that 91% to your aloe gel and or your essential oils and or your witch hazel, it depends on how much you dilute it, but you may not, stay above that 60%. And some of the recipes were very vague. It was sort of mix this much and this much together, then in quote, ensure that you have 60% isopropyl alcohol. And I thought, okay. And when I asked my husband, who's much better at bench science than I am, he said it has to do with weight, really, like weighing and measuring, and it's a very long, elongated task. So some compound pharmacists could do this exactly. We're going to do the best we have with what we have in the home, so we don't have to go out and be too close to others, and it's in a pinch. So this is just in a pinch. So what I had is something that I bought at the dollar store a while ago, and it's for arthritis with wintergreen. And I'll just tell you a little funny aside. When I was setting up for this video, my daughter Lily, she was making snickerdoodles in the kitchen, and she said, oh, I suddenly really want some birch beer. And I said, why? And she said, just suddenly do. And then when she smelled this, she said, I think this is what happened. I think I smelled this wintergreen. I wanted birch beer. But this is not pure isopropyl alcohol. So if you have pure, clear isopropyl rubbing alcohol, you're going to get a better product than I'm going to get tonight, because they've added methyl salicylate to it, magnesium, and capsaicin. So this is a big claim to fame, is that this is a rubbing alcohol that has topical pain relievers in it for joint and muscle pain, similar to an icy hot, I suspect. So because there are extra ingredients in here, I'm going to get a less pure product than if I just had standard isopropyl alcohol. So remember that. The more ingredients that are in the products that you start with, the less of a pure result of the hand sanitizer you're going to get. But it's what I have, so it's what I'm going to use. And then I was very fortunate because one of my daughters had this aloe vera gel. It says 100% gel. This is for sunburned skin. Now it's not just aloe. They've added some chemicals in there to thicken it, EDTA, DMDM, all kinds of like something urea. So I suspect there are extra ingredients in this to thicken it and to make it easier to absorb. So, but it is what I have in the home, aloe vera gel. So that's what I'm going to use. Now, the standard recipe for the isopropyl alcohol-based hand sanitizer is thirds. Think of thirds. 1/3 of the first A. A is the first letter of the alphabet, so aloe vera A. 1/3 of A. Then all the way up to the rest of the 1 cup with the isopropyl alcohol. So it's 1/3 of this, 2/3 of this, but to try to make it easier to remember, 1/3 of the A, and the rest of the way to the 1 cup is the isopropyl alcohol. So that's what we'll do right now. And then we'll stir it, and then I'm going to show you what happened the first time I did it. Now you may have like pure aloe gel from like Trader Joe's, or that you can actually pour. You're going to have less of a separation than I had, and depending on the texture of the ingredients that you use and you have, that's going to give you your end product. So I had to do an extra step. You'll see. All right, I'm gonna mark these because I'm having a hard time seeing against the black wood. All right, so there's my A-line aloe. This makes the most funny noise. It made me laugh when I did it, which is good because we need a lot of laughter in the world now. Okay, not quite. And if I were to err, I would err on the side of more alcohol than aloe vera. So there we are at the 1/3 line with the aloe vera gel. And I'm going to fill up to the 1 cup line, which would be 2/3. 1/3 to 2/3 equals 1 cup of the isopropyl alcohol with the additives, keeping in mind it has additives. And look what happens to mine. So, I'm not sure if you can see this. I'm going to shine a light through it. See if that helps. Can you see? Oh, that's terrible. There we go. No, right there. See that's on the bottom? The gel and the alcohol, just kind of like how I poured it. Now I'm going to mix this up with a fork. And what I noticed when I was mixing this up with a fork is I was getting clumps of gel on my fork that were settling back down to the bottom. But I thought, oh, that's okay. I'll just stir it really fast, and then I'll use a funnel and I'll pour it in my bottles, and it'll be fine. But when I did it this way, stirred it really quickly, I stirred it a lot longer the first time, used a funnel, poured it into my bottles. The first bottle was almost all liquid, even though I just stirred it. The second bottle was half liquid, half gel. The third bottle was almost all green gel. So this is something we really have to keep in mind when we're making, I'm going to turn the light off now, when we're making our own hand sanitizer. When you buy it in this form, they've done something to this to standardize how much alcohol is per parts alcohol per weight of gel from the top of the bottle to the bottom of the bottle. It's uniformly distributed. When we're making it home, we can't guarantee that. So I'm going to go an extra step. So if you find your gel is very liquid, your aloe gel, it's almost like a liquid, and when you add your alcohol to it, your isopropyl alcohol to it, you don't get clumps of gel like this, you may be fine. Once you pour it in your small bottles, you'll be able to see what parts you have of what you will. It was very obvious to me that I had 1 bottle of almost all green alcohol, 1 bottle of half and half, and 1 bottle of just green gel from the bottom. Now, I was very lucky. We have a new dollar store right where the old dollar store was in Worcester, but they had these bottles, which actually must be more than 2 ounces because I'm adding 8 ounces in and I was filling it up 2.5 bottles. What's that mouth? You can tell me. So these have the little Pop-Tarts, and then you would turn upside down and squeeze. And that's what I'm going to put these in. You can also use, this is one of my daughter's face cleaning bottles that she's not quite done with, so it's not quite empty. But if you had a pump version, you could also use that, wash it out really well, hot soap and water several times, and then place it in here. But one thing that's going to be true also for all homemade hand sanitizers that we make is it's going to be thinner. The texture comes out thicker than alcohol, thinner than gel. A thin liquid. It didn't run off my hand. I'm able to, I'll show you. I'm able to place some in my hand. And I'm able to bring my hands together and rub it. And it feels very nice and smooth. But it's definitely thinner than the gel that texture that we've all become accustomed to. So be careful of that. Probably is a little bit too thick for a spray bottle. Now say you choose a recipe online that's alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, some witch hazel oil, and a couple drops of essential oil, like here's some tea tree oil. That'll be thinner. You might be able to use a spray bottle with that. I love tea tree oil. It's an excellent antibacterial, antifungal, antimicrobial, but I'm not going to add it to this mixture because this already has such a strong odor. And anybody who knows tea tree oil knows that has a very strong odor. If I had clear isopropyl alcohol and clear gel, I may add 5 drops of the tea tree oil to it as well, but I'm not going to. Another essential oil that's really powerful antimicrobial is oil of oregano. I use this when I'm brushing my teeth. I'll put like one drop of that in a big glass of water, dip my toothbrush in it, brush my teeth, rinse my teeth, rinse my mouth with it. 1 drop is very powerful. It's like a spicy, think of oil of oregano. It's very strong, but incredibly good antimicrobial. But again, I'm not going to put it in here. It stings. You have to be super careful with how much you use of this. So be careful if you throw other ingredients on like that. Now this has sat for a bit, but still that's happening. Can you see the gel dripping off my fork? Clumps. So they're not blending well. So I'm going to force it to blend. If you have any kind of blender at home, you can use it for this step. I'm very lucky. I have a NutriBullet that my friend Karen gave me one year for Christmas. I have good friends. And I'm going to pour that in the smallest cup. See how it's clumpy at the bottom? Yeah, that's all gel. I'm going to put on my lid. All right, you all need to block your ears for approximately 30 seconds because I'm going to go over to my blender and it's going to be really loud. Block your ears. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, I really didn't do 30 seconds. That was probably about 15 seconds, but can you see how now it's more of a suspension? That's the word I wanted. More uniformly distributed, like this one. So you're not going to run the risk of pouring some of it on your hand and just getting a handful of gel that doesn't have much alcohol at all and won't really be effective at all. Okay. The last step, put in bottles. Oh, I'm going to start with the, and still this was stirred a long time ago, still very well distributed. So I'm going to fill up this one that I hadn't quite filled up. And then the others. Any funnel will do. If you have a steady hand, you don't even need a funnel for this part. But I'm going to use it. 2. Oh, that's full. And this one, it might even fill up. Mostly this bottle. Well, pretty good amount. So I made 2 batches, and 2 batches was enough to, and I'm not filling these bottles evenly either, I'm just eyeballing it, but this many bottles. Now what I do recommend is, I'm holding that up to the light, still the gel does not seem to have, it still seems emulsified, it doesn't seem to have settled, but what I would do is look at this through the light before I would use it and shake it up really good before I use it. Okay, again, I'm calling this In a Pinch. It's an In a Pinch hand sanitizer for those times when you're out of the good stuff, you're on your way to soap and water, you're not quite at soap and water, and you really want to take care of yourself. You've gone to the grocery store, or you've gone to the pharmacy to pick up your prescriptions, or coming home from work in the car and you realize, oh no, I forgot my wipes, or I don't have the other hand sanitizer, and you blow your nose in the traffic or whatever, it's good to have a little bottle like in a pinch in your car with you to help you through. All right, thank you so much for joining me again tonight. I'll keep coming up with these little ideas if I think they'd be helpful to you right now, and if there's anything in particular that you would like me to do a video on, just put it in the comment box below. All right, have a good night. Stay safe.